Hey guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to some more episode predictions for this week's up-and-coming episode of The Walking Dead, Season 7, Episode 5, entitled Go-Getters. Now, this episode, we don't really have much to go on, as usual, with these episodes that we get now. We don't really have too much to go on, other than things that we've just seen in a promo. We have one sneak peek, actually, not two this time, not even three this time. At least as of yet. If there is another one that gets released, I will talk about it briefly on Twitter. But with that being said, we only have one promo and one sneak peek, okay? The sneak peek was featured on Talking Dead, and then, again, it was featured on the AMC YouTube channel. So they didn't actually create two sneak peeks, for both separate occasions like they mostly do, or like they sometimes do, or, really like they always do, to be honest, because they always have two different sneak peeks, usually. But when they don't want to really give away too much in the episode, through the sneak peeks and stuff like that, they usually keep it the same and maybe just add like a little extra scene or something like that at the end. But this time they didn't. All right, so this is Season 7, Episode 5, entitled Go-Getters. The synopsis for this episode, again, you guys can follow along on AMC.com. I will leave a link in the description below. The synopsis for this episode is, members of our group go to the hilltop. And that is it, guys. That's all we get for a synopsis. Again, very brief. They're sort of keeping this episode under wraps, it sort of seems, And again, we don't really have too much to talk about here today. Really just, I'm going to sit here and point out what's really going to happen in this episode. And I think that this episode is mainly going to be focused on the hilltop. And the reason why I say that is because the promo for this episode is, it's literally the hilltop. And then the sneak peek's a little bit different. So we know that we're going to get to go back to Alexandria, at least briefly, to see what's going on there with at least Carl and Michonne, which will be cool. We definitely get to see more Carl in this episode, it looks like. And there's been rumors flying around there that apparently Carl and Enid actually went off to go to the hilltop by themselves. I'm not too sure on, if those rumors are completely true or not. It looks like Enid might have seen something outside, or it looks like she's hopping the wall again, especially in the promo, because Carl basically says to her, I'm not gonna go out there and risk my life for you anymore. I'm not gonna save you any longer. And we presume that he's talking to Enid because she always likes hopping the wall and going outside the walls. I'm still not too sure on why she's doing it this time. I thought she sort of got over that phase, but I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe she wants to go outside the walls. Maybe do something with the balloons. I don't know. Maybe mourn Glenn out there, maybe, I have no idea what she's planning on doing out there right now, but in the promo, she was in the house, and she, I don't know, she looks like she's staring at something, and that's when it looks like she's hopping the wall, because we do see her climbing the wall and stuff like that again in the promo, and especially in the sneak peek, at the end of the sneak peek, we see Carl sort of look out his window, or at least it looks like he's looking out his window, and I think that he's probably looking at the wall, seeing Enid climb over. That's my guess, that's my prediction. That's kind of what this video is for. It's a prediction video. So anyway, with that being said, the rest of the promo is really on the hilltop, and with Gregory especially, he's sort of like, it looks like he's giving shit to Maggie. I don't know if he's doing it directly or behind her back, but he basically says, that Maggie said that her and her group could take care of this threat. All that it's done is basically make it worse for their community. And, while that could be true, it could have definitely made things worse. He asked for it, That was the deal. They took out Negan and his people in exchange for food. That was the deal. You know what I mean? You can't just take the high road after it's all done and say, I didn't want you to do this in the first place. No, you definitely did. And Gregory's a big coward, you know what I mean? He is. He's, even in the comic books, he's a complete dickhead who always tries to take that high road. And he's never innocent in anything. He makes those decisions and then basically just doesn't try to take responsibility for it. You know what I mean? So anyway, with that being said, it looks like the hilltop is getting raided by saviors, or, something's happening there. They're arriving for like a supply drop or something like that. I'm not too sure what's happening there, but we do see Simon, obviously Trevor from GTA, or Negan's right-hand man. We do see him come into the compound, or come into the hilltop rather, and it looks like, he's bringing a lot of saviors. It looks like the hilltop's basically getting attacked, and we actually seen this in the San Diego Comic-Con trailer for Season 7 of The Walking Dead, and it looks like the hilltop's getting attacked. There's fire, there's people hanging from the walls and stuff like that as well, and Jesus looks like he's doing a brunt of the work, an absolute assload of the work. He looks like he's defending it. At one point during that trailer, he punched somebody, and it just looks like we get to see Jesus in this episode. more than we really get to see him even in the past season, you know what I mean? Like, it looks like he's going to be a lot more badass here. We're going to see his skills really come into play, and I can't wait for it, because it's episode 5 now, and this is the first time we're seeing Jesus in season 7, you know what I mean? The first episode obviously was focused on the main group, you know, obviously being kneeled before Negan. Second episode focused on the introduction of the kingdom. Third episode really just focused on the whole sanctuary and, you know, the whole Daryl situation. And of course, episode 4, which we just passed, focused on Negan making his first visit to Alexandria to collect a payment. So we didn't really have any time, you know, for the hilltop, and I'm glad that we finally get to see it. And it's all tied in with episode 1 as well, you know, with Maggie obviously being out there in the first place because she was having problems with her baby. Is her baby okay? You know what I mean? Is she going to live? In episode 4, actually, what's his name? Father Gabriel basically told Negan, lied to Negan, saying that Maggie actually died, and that's why he dug the extra grave. So Maggie actually did die. She didn't make it, and obviously we know that's not true. She's at the hilltop, and we get to see her actually in the trailer as well. She looks okay. She looks like she's recuperating in a bed, so we can presume that she's probably going to be all right. With that being said, we don't know the status on the baby. You know, is that baby going to survive? Are we actually going to have a Herschel Jr. in this TV show like we did in the comic book? We don't know this, you know what I mean? We have no idea. We have no inclination to what happened to the baby, you know, whatsoever. And, well, I mean, that's kind of the bread and butter of the promo, you know what I mean? Like there's not too much else there. We don't know if this whole siege on the hilltop is happening this episode, you know, what we saw in the Comic-Con trailer, but usually the Comic-Con trailers, I'll tell you this right now, they usually include footage from about episode 1 to about episode 6 or so, you know what I mean? Like so, right? Because by the time the SDC Comic-Con trailer usually comes out, that's about where they are at, you know, for filming. They're usually at episode 6 or episode 7, and we can definitely assume that this could be the episode where they get sieged. Not just, you know, I don't want to say attacked. Like, they could just get attacked by Simon and the rest of the Saviors, but they could obviously just get a visit from them, you know, expecting a payment. We don't really know what's going on there, but they look angry, you know. Simon doesn't look, I don't know, too friendly. But then again, I mean, he's a savior, you know what I mean? He's a savior, and the rest of them are saviors as well, you know, all of them that entered there, which, by the way, it looked like an army, and it looks like it very well may be the siege on the hilltop, which I'm kind of afraid of, you know. I'm sort of nervous for it, because we actually get to see in the promo Sasha and Jesus actually, like, together in a building, you know, sort of looking at a glass door as they're all coming in, as the saviors and stuff like that are all coming in. So I think, you know, personally, I think Sasha and Jesus are going to do a lot of the work in defending that place. And I actually can't wait to see it. I think it's going to be great. We don't really get to see a whole lot of, you know, badassery from Sasha very often. But when we do, it's usually pretty great. Let's be honest, it's usually pretty great. She's a really great shot. She still has her rifle there as well, which will be definitely interesting to see her use, because, of course, we know that, you know, Negan and his group took all the guns from Alexandria, but Sasha still does have hers, you know? So, again, I think that's going to be pretty interesting to, you know, sort of see that, and I can't wait to see it. You know, her and Jesus just go absolutely crazy on the entire town there, defending it, or, you know, maybe just taking out some saviors while they're trying to, man, I don't even know what to say. Like, are they coming to straight up attack it? Like, it seemed in the Comic-Con trailer where people were hanging from the walls, you know, from their necks with rope. It looked really brutal then. And there was fire. It was sort of nighttime as well. And Jesus was looking like, I don't even know what to say, like really good, I guess, because again, he was just taking out people left and right, and then at the end of the scene there in the Comic-Con trailer, he threw a punch, and that's when that scene sort of ended, right? So, that's all we get to really see from the promo. You know, it's mostly about the hilltop here. We do have, you know, scenes with Carl and Enid, I think, that are going to be pretty important to the show. Of course, the whole element of it bouncing back and forth, we haven't really got to see, you know, too much in The Walking Dead as of late, because it's always, you know, one episode's always been really focused on one group and one time and place, right? The first episode was focused on Rick and the group there knelt before Negan, right? And we get to see a little bit of back and forth, him with Negan in the RV and then back with the other group, right? So we get to see that, somewhat with like the flashbacks and stuff like that. But the rest of the episodes so far have been focused on one place and one place only. Obviously, the well with the kingdom. We have the cell with Daryl and the sanctuary. And we have service with all of them being in Alexandria. So the whole element of it, jumping back and forth between groups hasn't really come into play in season 7. But now it looks like we're going to finally get to see that here with jumping back and forth from the hilltop and their perspective on things getting attacked by the saviors or, stormed upon by the saviors, them wanting to get their supplies, half their shit, for the week or whatever it is. And it looks like we're going to be jumping back and forth between that and Carl and Enid. So we're finally going to get to see that element in season 7, which I think will be interesting, to see how they pull it off. Will it just be Carl and Enid? I know that we get to see Michonne at least in one scene, which is the sneak peek actually for this episode, where Carl basically asks Michonne, why didn't you go with my dad? So that's a question right there. Where did his dad go? Where did Rick go? Right? We have no idea where Rick went. He went somewhere. Did he go to the hilltop maybe? Did he try to go find out where, Daryl was being held? Because there's been rumors going around that Daryl actually went ahead and communicated with Rick, when he was at Alexandria last episode with Morse code by blinking. So there was a lot of rumors about that. I don't know if it's true or not. It seems pretty thought upon at this point. So, I guess it could be definitely a possibility. We're not going to really get into that right now, but did he maybe go, use the information that Daryl might have provided him to see, if he could find out where the sanctuary was and where Daryl was being held? Or did maybe he go to the hilltop? I think the hilltop would be the most likely of place to go, for Rick. I think that would be, some place that he would go over, going to see if he could find sanctuary. Of course, he doesn't know about the kingdom yet, so I don't think that he would be hitting there. That wouldn't really make sense. There's no way that he could know about the kingdom. But then again, Morgan did mark on some trees and on some mailboxes, on his way to the kingdom. He did mark on some things with like arrows and stuff like that. So maybe Rick is trying to go find them. Maybe he came up with a plan with Morgan, when Morgan initially went off to find Carol, and maybe Morgan just said something like, I will mark my way, you know what I mean? So that could be definitely a possibility. I just sort of got thinking on that. He did mark a few places that we seen, with those arrows on the trees and stuff like that. So maybe that was his way of letting Rick know where he was going. So I guess that could be definitely a possibility. We'll see about that, though. So like I said, that's one question that we have to ask ourselves. Where did Rick go? Where is the most likely place that he went? Like I said, hilltop, maybe that Morgan find, or, of course, maybe that Morse code that Daryl was blinking, or apparently blinking. Maybe that was actually a thing. And maybe he's going to go try to find sanctuary. We don't know. You know what I mean? We have no idea. But the rest of the sneak peek, basically Carl is asking Michonne, do you think my dad's right? It's bullshit. You know what I mean? He's not right. This is not how we should live. We should, stand up. We should fight. And, this is not the way to live. I can't live like this. And he basically asked Michonne, do you think my dad's right? And Michonne basically replies with, even if I don't think he's right, she just doesn't know. That's what she replies with. I just don't know at this point. He could be right. Maybe I don't think that he is right. And I think that she doesn't think that Rick is right. You know what I mean? We always had that doubt in Michonne. But at the end of last episode, of course, we also got to see Rick ask her, to sort of try. You know what I mean? Try to accept it, or else it's not going to work. And she did say that she would. Anyway, just to recap, I think this episode is basically going to be on the hilltop, and of course Carl and Enid, and probably a little bit of Michonne. So we're going to be back and forth between the hilltop and the siege with the saviors there, of course. I think that we're going to get to see some badass scenes with Jesus, and probably with Sasha as well, which I think will be cool. The status on Maggie, I think that Maggie will be fine. Again, we don't know about the baby. They have gone different routes, with the TV show than they did with the comic. Of course, in the comic, she actually ended up having her baby. It became Herschel Jr. She had a son. So that definitely happened in the comic books. But again, they've gone different ways than with the the comic book. They've gone different ways with the TV show than they have with the comic book. Of course, in the comic book, Judith is actually dead. She died with her mother. In the TV show, Judith is still very much alive way after her mother died. So, I have no idea what's going to happen there, but I think it's going to be definitely interesting. Anyways, with all that being said, thank you all so much for watching my predictions on this week's up-and-coming episode of The Walking Dead, Season 7, Episode 5, entitled Go Getters. And yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think that's pretty much it. That's all I've got. So you guys know that I'm primarily a gaming channel. Tomorrow I will be posting some Watch Dogs 2, so hopefully you guys will be down for that. So definitely make sure you tune in tomorrow. But if not, if you guys don't like gaming videos or anything like that, no worries, okay? Tune back in on Monday for my episode review of Season 7, Episode 5, entitled Go Getters, and I will be tuning in this Sunday. Hopefully you guys will as well. If you guys agree with me with anything that I said here today, or you guys have your own thoughts and opinions, let me know in the comment section below. I'd definitely be interested to read them, and I will see you guys on tomorrow's video. Take care, everybody. Bye. We're back to the daily uploads. We're back to the gaming videos. And I don't know. I guess let's get right into it. We're just back with the normal everyday commentary. This is not live or anything like that. So if you guys were looking for that, I do apologize. But I will be back to that sort of style of videos tomorrow. But nonetheless.